Second principle that we learn from Joshua's life is not only do you have to move past the past, but you have to take the first step in a new direction, right? You have to continue moving forward. Everywhere that we go these days, we just have a GPS on our phone, right? If we have to travel somewhere, we plug in the destination that we want to get to and we follow the directions. I'm pretty convinced there aren't many people left that have any kind of sense of direction. Why? Because I don't have to. I just use the GPS. This week I was driving on the road, and the GPS, it'll give you the fastest route, it'll give you the quickest, and it'll give you the best route to go. And I was driving somewhere I hadn't been in a while, and I was using the GPS, and the road was closed, but the GPS didn't know it. There was a bridge that was out. And so I got up to it, and I was kind of surprised, and I stopped. And I thought, well, I got an opportunity here, right? I got to decide. Am I going to try to cross the river without the bridge, or am I going to take the detour? And so I just kind of relied on the GPS. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a left, and I'm just going to keep going, right? And the GPS, it kind of guided me step by step. Well, now that you're not on the road, do this, and then take a right here, and then take a right here, and then you're back on the way. I was just following it one step at a time. In order to get where I wanted to go, there was something in the way, but I just had to do the next right thing. I had to take the next right step. And that's what God was inviting Joshua to do. He said, I want you to get ready to cross the river. And I want you to go into this land that I have for this people, the Israelites. See, God's people, they had been slaves in Egypt for a long time, until Moses came along and he led them out of slavery. And for 40 years, they were wandering around in the wilderness. And now Moses is gone and Joshua is here. They're all waiting for God to give them what he had promised them. God wanted and had a plan to give them a land and a nation and a name. And it's about to come into fruition. He's like, listen, I know you would think that it would be Moses that would take them there, but he's not here anymore. It's your turn, Joshua. And you need to get these people ready to take the first step. They got to step into the river because the land that I've promised is on the other side. Now, most times of the year, this wouldn't be a very big deal because the Jordan River is not a formidable thing. Unless, of course, it's in rainy season, then it would be quite treacherous. It could even swell as wide as 2 miles. Can you imagine trying to get 2 million people to cross a 2-mile river? Well, if you cheat and you read ahead in the story in Joshua chapter 3, verse 15, that's exactly the season that it is. And that's exactly what God is inviting Joshua to lead the people to do. They're going to have to cross the river. The river is in the way of where they need to be. And I bet there's a river in the way of where you need to be. An obstacle that's in the way. And these people, they're kind of afraid. They're not really sure. They got a new leader that they're trying to follow. I don't know about this guy. And they got this huge assignment to try to cross 2 million people through a treacherous obstacle to get to something that God had promised them that they knew was there, but let's see. And so, of course, they're afraid. And I bet if you take the first step of faith and move past your past, you'll probably experience some fear too. But it wasn't just the river that made them afraid. They knew exactly what was on the other side of that river, along with the land that they were promised. They knew that there was an enemy there, and that enemy wanted to destroy them. And they were afraid that if they got across the river after that moment of faith, that once they got over here, they would lose the battle. They were afraid of the opposition. But here's what I've learned. That our opportunities typically go hand in hand with opposition. There's probably somebody that doesn't want you to take that step of faith. There's probably somebody that doesn't want you to go all in with your marriage or all in with your kids and your family or all in by fulfilling your calling at work. There's probably somebody there that you're afraid of. Maybe it's real, maybe it's kind of made up in a narrative in your mind, but that's what's holding you back. That's the thing in the way between where you are and where you need to be, between the life that's stuck and the full life, between here and there. And God says, Joshua, I want you to get these people ready because it's time to go. So what's your river? What is it that's between where you currently are in your faith and where you need to be, because you'll never defeat it until you define it. What is the obstacle that's holding you back from taking that step of faith and obedience and trusting God?